Now, I would go further into that, but that's going to eat up more time. What I really want to talk about is what I was saying before about that wishful thinking of being able to clean house. For those people who are in the Occupy movement, or people who are supporting the Occupy movement and are filled with, righteous indignation, or that zeal and that great feeling of, wow, I'm part of something important. Hold on to that feeling, yeah, but I'm really hoping that you're willing to hold on to it for the long haul. Because this ain't going to take a couple of months. I hope you guys don't think that, if you're out there and you're protesting and shit, that this will take maybe 2, 3, 4 months, and then finally you'll be able to get through to the masses, and you'll be able to change government. Don't even think that you have up until the election year. You got a very long fucking time before you're actually going to be able to make some real change if you're serious about what you're doing, and if you take the right steps. It's going to take years. Years. I'm not even being pessimistic. I'm being realistic. I'm looking at the way our society is structured right now, the types of people we have in our society who, even though we're generally agreeing on the same thing, we're letting our ideologies make our arguments for us instead of realizing that we've pretty much got the same problems. Taking all that into account, and plus taking into account movements like this throughout history, you've got a very long fucking time ahead of you if you're going to make any type of meaningful change. Get those winter coats for those of you, and make sure those winter coats last a few years, because you're going to be out there for a long fucking time. Get those space heaters, pitch up a tent. You're going to be out there for a while. And don't think that just protesting out there is going to help. It's not enough. Take it from someone who helped organize protests. Protesting is not enough. Marching up and down the street with a sign is not going to enact change, especially in a society which has been very successful since the 60s at fucking over movements and squashing them. It was kind of taken a little off kilter during the 60s. They were caught a little off guard. But afterward, they figured out how to fuck with you. They knew how to make movements somewhat meaningless by the time the 80s rolled around. They know what they're doing. You got a long fucking fight. A very long one. And these acts that we're seeing by the police, where they're macing, people who all they're doing is yelling with a sign, and this is barbaric. They need to do something about this. The only people who's going to be able to do anything about it is you, because quite frankly, the government's quite well, I don't just say government, because there are some people in government who are a bit appalled, but they know better than to open their fucking mouth. The powers that be, the people who are paying the cops off, the people who are doling out the money, are very happy with what's going on. This is what they wanted. You crush rebellion when you're trying to keep control. None of this happened with the Tea Party movement because the Tea Party movement was bought out. You got them under control. No need for violence. Occupy movement was like, no, fuck you, we will not be bought off, I'm sorry, no. Plus, they knew exactly who their enemy was. If all you're saying is the government's fault, you don't exactly know who your enemy is, and then they can easily sneak in and control you like they did with the Tea Party movement. They didn't exactly know who their enemy was. They blamed it all on government, which they're then trying to use and take over. If government's the problem, why are you trying to, use it yourself? It must not be the problem if you're trying to use it yourself. Or maybe you do think it is a problem and understand that, oh, I want to be the tyrant in charge. I don't want that tyrant. I want to be the tyrant. You got people like that too. Some people join movements just because of what they can get out of it, not necessarily because they believe in its ideals. There's tons of people like that. And the more radical the movement, the more you're going to find people like that. But the Occupy movement wasn't going to be bought off, and they knew who their enemy was. So now, if you're going to stay in control, you got other weapons you need to use. Violence, intimidation, and ridicule. And all three are in force right now. And the cops, who, quite frankly, I know a few police. I understand a lot of those guys aren't bastards. But let's face it, several are. And the police aren't really here to protect and serve us. I know that's what they claim, but it's not really their job. The whole thing is about keeping a certain type of order. And if you're trying to keep a certain type of structure, a certain type of order, you cannot have anyone else attempting to take over shit themselves, even in the smallest of ways. That's why there's we can't have any type of vigilanteism. Even if sometimes the guy wasn't even trying to be a vigilante, he was just simply trying to stop people he knew from getting hurt or getting himself hurt. No. Leave it to us, not you. You're not supposed to be in control. Even of your own fucking safety, we're in control. And the police are tools of a force that's trying to stay in control. That's why they're doing what they're doing to the people on the street. It's simple. I know this may offend a lot of people who are in the police department right now or who know police, and I'm not saying this is somebody who's like, fuck the pigs. No, I'm not talking from that attitude. I'm just laying it out as it is. They're here to maintain order, not to protect innocent people. That's why they're willing to, like, let's throw this motherfucker away. He's protesting. He's making too much noise. It's messing up the established order. They've got to go. And the sad thing is, as Divinity had pointed out in her video, these cops in New York who are doing this are the same people who are being screwed over by the very system that wouldn't give them the proper attention they needed after what they went through in 9/11. Yet here they are still being tools for the man. Because that's their job. That's what they're being paid to do. And this is what I mean by saying that right now, this movement that's out there, this is going to take years to fix because so many people don't have that perspective of the police. They see them as, oh, they're here to protect me. No, they're not. That's not really their job. It's not. That's the perception you have. And that's the gimmick they use on you. But when you're in trouble, they don't seem to be around because, again, that's not really their job. Their job is to maintain order. When you break laws like speeding, parking in the wrong spot, or earlier today as I was I was driving to work, this one guy decided to drive on the shoulder. Whoop, 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 there goes the cop right there. But the cop was not there to stop the guy who tried to clip me when he was trying to cut me off. That was a safety hazard. Cop was there. He saw that in the shit. But the guy driving on the shoulder, I'll stop him. They're here to maintain order. Follow the fucking rules or else. Bow down to the established order. Protesting against that, we got to do something about it. And since this particular movement has not been bought off by the enemy has to treat them harshly. Look up the history of this country and how they've been dealing with any movement. It doesn't matter whether you agree with this movement or not. Look at what happens to any movement that tries to take matters in their own hands or separate from this country, even if peacefully, or do their own thing on the side. They get crushed quick. You cannot allow anyone to mess up the established order. Simple as that. It's one of the basic rules of power. And just that alone should tell anybody who's in the movement that you're going to be at this for a long time, because what they're trying to do is dismantle the system. Many of you guys are saying, well, we're here to reform it. We're here to fix things. We're here to make these financial institutions, be brought down to justice. They need to be reformed. We need to fix things. Yeah. But in order to do that, you need to dismantle the system. That's going to be a long fucking fight. A long fucking fight. Get your resources together if you're truly willing to enact change. And also realize, no pressure, that if you fuck up, this is it. I know that's unfair to say, and I know that's a scary thing to say, but this is honestly how I feel. If these people can't get our country to seriously start thinking about maintaining a fairer society for everyone involved and making sure that everyone has a fair chance and that people who have all the money get to dictate what goes on, all these types of problems that we have in society. I'm not even going into the social ones like Medicaid and healthcare and all that type of stuff, which also needs to be remedied severely. But in order for all that to happen, you have to be willing to truly start from scratch in some ways with this society. Just basically in who gets to maintain the reins of power, who gets to actually go in government, and how we watch these people in government, the types of things that we in a society should know, and the type of issues that we need to be aware of. All this type of stuff needs to be reformed. We're talking about reforms from media to financial reforms, the way we view our organizations, how we run our governmental organizations. We're talking like sweeping reforms. This shit's going to take years. And so many people like it the way it is. Even if they aren't necessarily the ones who are pulling the reins of power. They just like it the way it is. People get comfortable in a certain groove. You're upsetting all that. If you fuck up, considering how much damage has been done, this is it. This is the peasant revolt that might actually have a chance. And that means you guys need to educate yourselves on what's going on. And you need to realize what you're up against. If you don't, you're going to lose. If you give up too early, you're going to lose. And if you lose now with the type of yahoos that I see coming around, coming down the pipeline, the type of danger I'm seeing in the horizon, we are fucked. And I'm not even saying fucked in a sense of, oh, we're always going to be enslaved. No, not necessarily. I mean, we are fucked in that I'm thinking that some violent shit is going to be coming down the pipeline. Really violent shit. And when that happens, I ain't going to be here. I know, Crypt Queen, once again, you made that joke about how if any of those yahoos get to the point where they're going to be elected president or close to being elected president, you're going to move. I already made that plan. Me and my wife had already discussed it. Seriously. The whole thing about you saying about having a commune or something, I already got people who are willing to pitch in, and I said too much already. But yeah, I ended up talking, many of the things I wanted to talk about I ended up not talking about here, but I think I put enough fuel for the fire for other people to talk about or bring up, whether they agree with me or not. If they found it a flaw in the types of things I'm saying, go right ahead and go on with it. But just wanted to toss that out there. Yeah, I do still think this discussion is important. I would like to see some people, I myself haven't even talked about what I would think our society should be marching towards or what a more ideal society should be. I guess I'll save that for the next video, but I just wanted to touch on those, on what I've been thinking after I saw those videos that you guys sent to me. This is what I feel like saying to all you guys who sent me comments and videos, like from what you guys are giving me, this is what I'm giving back. And that's it. I think I've gone on way too long already, so catch you guys later. And again, thanks for the thoughts and the opinions. Keep them coming.